in Africa, which is probably closer to us today, we have the largest capacity in terms of numbers and IT load of any data center provider in the African continent today. That's because within the Digital Realty Group, in South Africa, you've got Teraco. East Africa, you've got Icolo. West Africa, you've got Medallion. And when you combine all these data center assets, we are multiple times more than the closest competitor in the market. Is the need for digital infrastructure, the fact that as you continue to digitize the economy, you need the right infrastructure that the digital services can ride on. And that's what data center provides. It provides the meeting place where everybody that is a service provider meets to both exchange service with their complementary partners, as well as buy services from those that offer stuff they need. For instance, if you come to a facility, all the submarine cable today serving Nigeria is present there. So all the ISPs by default have to be there to get submarine capacity from them. The same thing with all the metro fiber providers. They are there in our facility. So anybody that needs metro transmission have to come there to be able to meet them. Similar with long distance provider. And of course, the various contents, whether you're talking about Meta, Google, or any of the cloud service providers, they use our facilities, right, to be able to offer service to their customers. So is that need to have a telecom marketplace to serve the digital economy that is the main motivator towards building this stuff. As you probably know, when we started building our Lost One facility, which today is the primary connectivity hub, not just for Nigeria, but for the region, we started very early when people didn't understand or appreciate the need for this kind of infrastructure. So now there's more awareness, now more infrastructure is being built to support what we've built. It's positive. Changing but not surprising, right? So it's not like we went into something we did not understand. From beginning, we knew what it entails, so it's nothing surprising, right? So we're very much aware of the environment we operate in and know what it needs to succeed in it, right? And we put in our best. Thank God we've been successful so far, but that doesn't mean it has not been very challenging. And we are not also myopic that it's going to get easier. You know, it's just a difficult environment, but one that also have great opportunity. And if you are able to overcome the challenges, then from a business standpoint, it's worth the investment. But beyond return on investment, you're also looking at value creation. How are you helping the country to grow? How are you helping the citizens to grow in the digital age? That is a major motivating factor also for us, beyond just the financial aspect of investment and hoping that you make a return eventually on your investment. Let me put it mildly, and let me also try to be a little humble, but I don't think the Nigerian digital infrastructure ecosystem would be what it is today if we did not build Lost One data center. I just believe, and many people would attest to the fact that what we have today, that is the foundation that a lot of this was now be built upon. That was the foundation that people saw that, oh, okay, facilities like these are important in the digital economy, and then people started trying to duplicate or build similar stuff to enhance the reach and make it more robust as the digital economy continues to grow, right? So it's just what it is. That's why I said we try to be humble about it, but that does not take away the fact that we are the pioneers in this space, and we are the ones that actually build the foundation that a lot of these futuristic services are now built upon. Number one, and this is the reality, not everybody is built to be an entrepreneur. We need to understand that, right? Sometimes people confuse being an entrepreneur to being a CEO, a chief executive or managing director. They are two separate stuff, right? They are both cut from different DNA, and they all both have value. Let me put it that way. Some entrepreneurs are not good managing directors, right? But they are very good in taking that risk to build and create a concept. They have the determination to fight through all the challenges to develop a concept into reality. But after you've done that, managing it, running it long term, making it successful, you may not be cut for that. That is where you need a strong and a good managing director, who understands how to run an organization successfully, right? Because entrepreneurs sometimes are very, very, they are risk takers. But you need to know when you've taken enough risk and the business needs stability, right, to be able to sustain and grow. And that is where a strong management team is required. That is why if you're an entrepreneur and you are running a one-man business, there's a problem, because you need people around you who understands the various aspects of maintaining and running a successful business that you may not be cut out for as an entrepreneur, right? So I needed to put that here because many people just feel we must all start something. Not everybody. As I've always said, if you cannot wake up, start a project, see that project quote unquote fail, and wake up the next morning and still take your bath, go out to hustle, you shouldn't be an entrepreneur, because for every successful business, there could be 3 or 4 that are not successful, that you may have gone through or tried to do. That is the reality of life. But the difference between an entrepreneur and a non-entrepreneur is an entrepreneur may fail on the given venture, and tomorrow you see him out there trying to do something new. A non-entrepreneur will not do that. You will see him spend the rest of his life reading the obituary of the failed business, talking about it all the time, you understand, and crying about it. You follow. So that's some of the differences between it. But the key point also is, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you must have something you are solving, a problem that you've identified that you are providing a solution to. Because if you don't have that, then at the end of the day, when issues come up, 1, there's something to motivate you to keep going. 2, you will not be able to actually ascertain if you'll be successful or not, because you've not been able to say, okay, this was the problem and I've not been able to solve it, and that is why we went into this business, right? So that is very important for people to also try to appreciate the fact that, you must ask yourself, what really is the objective for this venture I'm setting up, right? Is my goal just to run a business to generate income? Fair enough, it's a legitimate one. Is my goal to create something new that solves ABCD problem? It's also a legitimate motive, right, to be an entrepreneur. But one thing that is common in all this is there is always that element of risk, which you must be comfortable taking, which you must be at peace with. If that venture does not work out, that you're not going to lose your mind, that you're going to still be able to wake up in the morning and look for something else to do with your life, right? And also, this is also very important, timing is everything. A successful business that started in 2025 may have failed if it started in 2020, just because of pure timing, right? Sometimes the fact that a business failed doesn't mean it was a wrong concept. It just was implemented at the wrong time. That's the truth, right? Somebody once said that back in the days, can you imagine if somebody started a social media business in the 70s? It's going to fail, because back then everybody believes in privacy. People don't want to share their information out there, right? Different era, different business model, different things work. I've seen people, even with education, right? I've seen people where you ask, what do you want to study? And they say, I want to study ABCD. and you ask them, okay, why do you want to study that? They say, oh, it's my hobby. It's something I just like, right? And you now realize that you may go ahead and study that course, but by the time you are out of school, there's no employment readily available for you because it's not one of the sectors that the industry, as at the time you are graduating, is looking for, right? So that doesn't mean, as I've always said, that if you are studying that in a different environment or in a different time frame, it may not be ideal, but not just in your environment, right? So that's where the difference between you have to be passionate about everything you do, because that's really what will give you the drive to try to excel in it. But that doesn't mean it must be profitable. I know people, in all sincerity, right, who run non-profitable organizations intentionally. Their ultimate goal is not to be profitable and make money, but to add impact to other people's life, make it profitable. But even the business model itself does not tend for high profitability. They are fine with it, and they are having the necessary impact in the society. So it's what it is sometimes for each country, because if you don't do that, then you'll be a little bit frustrated. I give you an example. Let's say I just came back from a trip last weekend, and it was a conference we went for in an African country, funny enough, not even outside Africa. And for the 5 days we were there, they did not take their lights, right? There was electricity non-stop for that 5 days, right? Coincidentally, that same period was when we did not have light here for about 4 days, right? We did not have light for 4 days. And we had to run on generators for 4 days. The same week. It was pure coincidence, but it just happened that way. I see myself asking, how, right? This is an African country. We've been here for 5 days. They've not taken their light, at least where we were having the conference, right? And back home, there was no light for 4 days, right? So if you start doing those comparisons, you're going to lose it. That's just the truth. The reality is, when you come to Nigeria, you know you are here, you adjust to the environment, you try to make things better and put in your best efforts so that ultimately Nigeria would one day be having the same operating environment as other countries where things are better, right? And we have a lot of advantage over most countries. We have the right natural resources. We also have the right human resource, right? All we need to do is find a way to put this together. Take advantage of our huge natural resources, combine it with our very solid, robust human resource, very youthful, educated, intelligent population. Put them together and we'll do well, right? I always try to shy away from politics, but the reality is a time has to come when our leaders really need to just take a decision that they want to make this country a great country and take advantage of the two critical resources available to them, natural resource and human resource. Put it together creatively, and Nigeria will be super.
For more on well-researched and balanced stories, events, and interviews across business, tech innovation, and lifestyle, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel, www.youtube.com/digivationnetwork.